Now I've got to say, James Blake was robbed of a career because I've played him in front of plenty of different people on numerous different occasions, and they've always responded with, "Is this Sam Smith?" And I'm like, "No, it's James Blake." And they're like, "Oh, it sounds exactly like Sam Smith." And I've always thought, why didn't James Blake get super popular and mainstream if he sounds like Sam Smith, who got super popular and mainstream? Regardless of that, though, Sam Smith is actually a talented English singer-songwriter who has plenty of hits under his name, like I'm Not the Only One, Stay With Me, and a few tracks with Disclosure, which are by far the best songs he's ever been on. And by now, I really would like a Disclosure produced Sam Smith album, just all the way through, like 10 tracks of just Disclosure, because I think that'd be amazing. Regardless of that, though, Sam Smith is actually a talented English singer-songwriter who has plenty of hits under his name, like I'm Not the Only One, Stay With Me, and a few tracks with Disclosure, which are by far the best songs he's ever been on. And by now, I really would like a Disclosure produced Sam Smith album, just all the way through, like 10 tracks of just Disclosure, because I think that'd be amazing. Because one thing that's very clear in Sam Smith's music and on this album, the thrill of it all, is that often his voice outweighs the instrumentals, and by that I mean a lot of the instrumentals are very bare, they're very minimal, there's not much going on, but his voice is so good that it actually makes some of the songs pretty decent. And unfortunately, that's all they ever really get, it's just merely decent tracks, because there's just not enough going on in the instrumentation. I mean, Say It First has barely a pulse to the track like this. You can hear a little bit in the background that's kind of just like, and that's kind of it. Like, towards the end, the orchestration elevates a little bit, but it just rises to nothing because the sound doesn't get louder or anything like that. It just stays the same pace. And lyrically, I suppose there's not a lot of new ideas going on in this album. He's very much singing about love, just like he did on In the Lonely Hour. Of course, if he wants to do that, then he's not going to change up his style, is he? But, you know, I just think on like one last song where he's like, maybe one day I won't write a song about you, I just kind of listened to that line and I was like, no, that's not true. You're always going to write these same songs about this same person. Don't lie, don't do that. The track Him is a very soulful and gospel track. I do love that sound, and it does end up being quite decent, but a part of me just thinks Michael Kiwanuka did this exact same thing last year on his album, and I'd just rather go listen to that, to be honest. But what I have to praise is Baby You Make Me Crazy. That track is friggin' great. Why wasn't that the single? I mean, the actual single was just any other Sam Smith song. I can't really pick it out of a lineup from all of his other singles, but this one had so much passion to it, seriously. Make me crazy. And maybe it's because there's a bit more melody to this track, unlike a lot of the other tracks on this album, and that's kind of how I felt about I'm Not the Only One back in 2014 or whenever that came out. I thought that out of all of his other singles were better because that one had a bit more of a beat to it, and this is kind of similar, but this is just like elevated up a notch even further, and it's so good. He should really do more of this, but the duet that comes after with it, featuring an artist called Yeba, is actually pretty beautiful. I can't really argue with this one. This is a very good duet that any duet that comes out on any album should really aspire to sound as good as this. So there are highlights for sure. I mean, I wasn't going into this album as like a Sam Smith fan by any means, but I came out with a couple of tracks I do think are pretty damn good. It's just a shame, really, that he plays to his vocal strengths, but then kind of ignores the instrumentals that come with them. Like, it's just not enough to carry the whole album. You know, there just needs to be a bit more life to these tracks, and they would have been really good. For what it is, though, I'd say it's a pretty decent album. I'd recommend it to any people that like piano-based albums. I'd say this is a C. I mean, Sam Smith is too nice to shit all over, so a C I think is a fair result and a fair grade for this album. It's pretty alright. I doubt it's going to be anyone's favourite of the year, but still. Let me know what you think of this album in the comments if you've heard it already. And subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Do check out that Michael Kiwanuka album I referenced earlier in the review, because that album is so good. Listen to this album too. I'm still going to be waiting on that Sam Smith Disclosure album forever. It probably will never come, but I'll have hopes. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews, and let me know what I should review next, and have a good day.